Hello everyone, welcome to Tranquility Through Life's Natural Beauty, and today is actually Thursday. I think I said yesterday that today would be Tuesday. I think it's actually Thursday. So Thursday means Thursday Inspirational Thoughts, and I've been requested to continue with my series about who are you? Now, there is a whole playlist of this subject, this series, and there are also many lives, my Thursday lives, not every Thursday live, but most of them are also covering this series, Who Are You? And the lives aren't the same as the ones in the playlist on my videos on this channel. They're different ones. So if you want to see all of them, you need to see the lives and the playlist. And it's about discovering yourself, why you are you, different formats of how you are you in many different ways and concepts. So today we're looking at your physical self. These are from my psychology books. So this starts with your physical self. The place and family into which you are born give you a physical, yes, physical identity. You are your body, and because your body is always changing, your personality also changes as it develops. Your physical features and body balances show your character more clearly as the years pass. If you become an adult who still doesn't know who you are, well, start to think what you want to be. With models from Charles Atlas to Arnold Schwarzenegger to follow, many bodybuilding advertisements have long answered a masculine need. The life and headlines on a print of this show both well-developed intellectual abilities and physical capabilities. So from your handprint, you can also see this. Men come in all shapes and sizes. There is no ideal physique, as you well know. In Oriental psychology and philosophy, everything can be attributed to two opposing but complementary principles called yin and yang. And we talked about this, I think, in the last series. Excuse me, I'll go sneeze. Excuse me. I've been cutting trees and I've obviously got the dust up my nose. So yin and yang, and I have done, I think, the last episode on this series on my lives. I think I talked about that. So it's the white tiger symbolises the yin principle, whereas the green dragon symbolises the yang principle. And according to the art of psychonomology, character and attitude can be judged from the shape of your face, which we will talk about more in future. And there are 7 main face shapes from which to choose. So that will be another episode in this series later on. Where did you get your body? Contained in every cell of your body is a genetic blueprint which determines hundreds of physical characteristics. For example, your hair, your skin colour, and many of your potential skills. Nature gave you this blueprint, half from your mother and half from your father, which in turn inherited from their parents and so on. During the process of growing up, you were taught many things. For example, how to eat your food and how to behave in social situations. This is, of course, called nurturing. In adulthood, a fascinating question arises. Which parts did you inherit by nature and which did you develop by nurture? And there have been so many experiments of this. In some countries, they've actually taken identical twins, split them up at birth, and a lot of the things they do are still very similar, no matter how they're brought up. I could go on and on about this subject. It is very interesting. It's not always an easy question to answer, nature or nurture. If, for example, you were adopted, there are no natural blood ties between you and the parents who nurtured you. Yet it is intriguing to discover many similarities amongst members of families who have been nurtured together. Indeed, even husbands and wives seem to grow like each other over a period of time, and they normally do not have blood ties between them either. Do people choose each other because there are potential similarities between them? And this also brings up the question, people say people look like their dogs. So you obviously select a dog more based on your looks. How to distinguish between nature and nurture? Natural inherited characteristics are normally found not only among your immediate family, but among earlier generations and their offspring. And then you can make up your own family tree of inherited characteristics. Select some of your own physical features and mark those family members who have the same features. Then you can decide if you inherited or acquired these features. Some characteristics are quite clearly inherited, such as hair colour. Others, which do not appear at all in earlier generations and their offspring, are more likely to have been acquired by nurturing. How to complete this special family tree. Enter the names of your blood relatives only, starting with your great-grandparents and your grandparents. For your parents' generation, include their brothers and sisters, so your aunts and uncles, and offspring who are your cousins. On either side of yourself, enter your brothers and sisters, if any, and their children, so your nephews and nieces. Finally, you might like to include your own children and grandchildren, if you have any, to see if the same physical features are shown in them. You can often see photographs. You get out, say, your son's child, and you say, oh, look, I've got a picture exactly the same with that when I was a child. I'm sure you've all said that. And I have a funny story as well. A couple that I was friends with, man and wife, husband and wife, and nobody knew, but they had some artificial children. What's the word I'm looking for? And everyone was saying about, oh, how much they look like them. And they were nothing to do with them in any respect. When I say artificial, I didn't mean that. You know, I have brain damage, so I can't think of words. But they didn't adopt the children. Long story. But anyway, they didn't have any format of either of them in any respect. And yes, and everyone kept saying how they look like them, which can be upsetting. These are the same couple who, because they couldn't have children, they used to get quite annoyed when other friends used to go on about their children, and it's their children's this and the children are doing that, and they said, oh, you know, we don't like it when people go on about children because we can't have children. Then when they got children of their own, they did exactly the same thing. Do think on, if you're talking to people that don't have children, don't go on and about your children unless you know the reason why the people you're talking to don't have children. It can be quite upsetting, to be honest. Anyway, if you're adopted and you don't know your blood relatives, you can still make your adopted family tree and find out how many similarities there are between you. It may come as a surprise to find you have more in common than you think. So you can also do a key to your physical characteristics. You can make a table entering the physical features you would like to trace back in your family. So for example, you can do a box and put a coloured dot or symbol. For example, hair colours are basically black, brown, red, blonde, white. So you could use a coloured dot for your hair colour, and then anyone else obviously add that to them so you can see the thread of how you're the same. Adult heights perhaps could be separated, marking T for tall people, which is stated to be over 6 foot, which is 183 centimetres. M for medium height, which is thought to be 5 to 6 feet, which is 152 to 183 centimetres. And S for shorter people, which is thought to be less than 5 foot or 152 centimetres. Perhaps you'd like to look at noses. Noses come in all shapes and sizes, but you're only looking for noses that are, remember, like yours. You're looking what's similar to you. So you can choose a symbol for shapes of people's noses. Look at all photographs to see that. When choosing features, what you want to trace and look who's similar to you, don't forget to include any disabilities or oddities, such as flat feet or eyes of different colours. Perhaps you can also include skills. What skills Do you find you are similar to other people, perhaps good at languages and so forth? So put the symbols, what you want to trace for all the family who have similar characteristics of you, whatever you want to look at. How many inherited characteristics can you trace back to your great-grandparents? You will see that perhaps you've got your body from a very large number of people, where some people say you look like your mum, your dad. Perhaps it goes much further back than that, and they look like somebody prior to that. 16 great-grandparents and 32 people in the previous generation, perhaps. How many ways of behaving do you think you acquired by imitating your parents? Do you catch yourself doing things? Perhaps your mother had a trait that annoyed you, or she kept saying a certain phrase, or did things a certain way, or reacted to things a certain way that you disliked, and you've caught yourself doing it. I guarantee that has happened to you on some occasion. Did your parents imitate their parents? So if you know your grandparents, see what similarities there are. Of course, a lot of people tend to go the complete opposite deliberately. How much of you is by nature? How much of you is by nurture? So this is very, very fascinating. And as I say, think of certain traits and mannerisms. Let's also think about how we bring up our own children. Do we do the same the way we were brought up? Do we feel there were certain things the way we were brought up that were very good, even though we may have disliked it as a child or teenager? Perhaps we carry on with some of those traits, or do we again do the complete opposite? Do we try something else? So let me know in the comments below what you think of this episode. And don't forget, if you are interested in doing StreamYard and you want the paid things you can have with StreamYard, I do have a discount code which is linked below. And if you recall, if you've seen previous episodes on any of my lives on both my channels, I always do quote corner. I have just redone all the quotes over the whole week. So I do 5 quotes and I show them for some time. You'll get the same one on the same day for a while, and then I change them up. I used to do them at the end of the lives, but I'm going to just throw them in the middle of the video somewhere. So if you've not watched a live to the very end, do go back, play them through, watch the ends, and you'll see all my positive quotes after every single live that I do. So here is the new one for Thursdays. Missed previous Thursday quotes, there's 2 more coming up. And the previous one. And to let you know, on my other channel, which I'll run on the ticker tape below, just in case you haven't found it yet, New Beginnings, my everyday life in rural Cyprus. Do check it out, subscribe there if you haven't already. On that channel, on the 6th of December, which is a Wednesday, I will be doing a live for my birthday. So I would like you to come over there if you can do that. We do have a set time for that live. Let me run the times of that live because I can't change my times in my head. So this is the times on my other channel. And on that channel on Wednesday, December the 6th, I will be talking specifically about birthdays, specifically December or January birthdays. Why would they be different to the rest of the year? So January, December birthdays, previous birthdays that I've had, parties, memories of birthdays, anything and everything to do with birthdays. Maybe you remember a specific present. So your birthday memories, if you had parties, and I would love it if you would like to come up, and it will be my first panel if people are wanting to come up on the screen. If you do want to come up on the screen, then you need to send me an email before that live so I can send you the link. So I'm running my email there. If you don't catch the email, you might be listening to this while you're doing something else, then just drop me a comment and say you'd like to come up on my birthday live. Remember, it's on my other channel if you'd like to come up there. So don't worry if you don't catch the email. If you're well known to me, then obviously you can just come up and I will drop the link to you if that's easier. So if you're not liking to come up live, then don't worry about that. If you don't want to, you can still come and enjoy the chat. And I do actually have some requirements if you do want to come up live at all. Let me see if I've got them written down so I don't miss anything. Obviously, no smoking, no vaping. If you want to come up as well, I ask that you actually stay present on the screen, which that means basically no icon. I don't like on my lives when there's an icon up. I want to talk to a face, hence why I'm doing that. If you don't want your face on screen, then stay in the chat. So no icons up, no smoking, no vaping, no bad language, no cussing. If you need to dip out the screen for some reason, as I say, don't put the icon up, literally come off the screen entirely. They are the main formats that I require if you would like to come up on my live. So if you can't do any of those things, then that's fine on other channels, but not on my channel. Thank you. So I will leave it there for today. Don't forget to check out again also my other channel, New Beginnings, My Everyday Life in Rural Cyprus. I have just posted my 3K giveaway, so do check it out. So easy to enter and a very unique prize. So I'm going to finish there for today. Thank you so much for being here. And I do appreciate you all. As I always say, if you're watching this back later, do drop a comment because I like to say hello personally to each and every one of you. So until next time, keep smiling.